Perhaps it was foolishness that drove me to begin. Perhaps arrogance. But in this journey, I found pieces of myself again. And maybe we can find yours as well.
Long ago, a child gazed upon a great work. This work was of another child, as they traversed many worlds, stopping darkness's hold upon the lands he traveled. The gazing child fell in love with this work, let it taking root deep within their very being. Little did the gazing child know that this work would continue to return to them, year after year. As the work continued, the gazing child aged, and they slowly realized the flaws this work held, growing ill of it. When the final crescendo of this work was achieved, the gazing child had now become a man. The man saw this crescendo and found it lamentable. In that moment, the man, in a fit of rage, cast away the work he once held so dear to him, vowing to never return to it again. But little did the man know he would return to the work once more.
Kingdom Hearts, a series near and dear to my own heart. When I first saw this game, it was at the local Blockbuster we go to after my piano lessons. And among all the games there, Kingdom Hearts jumped out at me with its striking box art. I picked it up and went, hey, why are Donald and Goofy with these anime kids? This might have driven some kids away, but me? I just had to know. And what I discovered was an insane crossover between Disney and Final Fantasy. Though at the time, my experience with Final Fantasy was limited to a very scratched rental of Final Fantasy X, where the game would freeze after Titus kicked a ball at Waka. Good times. But I knew Disney. You tend to learn what Disney is when you're 5. But now I have much more Final Fantasy knowledge, some of which I wish I could forget.
Pulse Falsey and Lassie are bad news. That's why Cocoon kicked them out. Live too close to the Falsey, one-way ticket to Pulse. That's the Purge in a nutshell.
Who wrote this shit? And in a way, I appreciate it far more about this game than I did as a kid. The premise is still madness, and yet because of that madness, the appeal is there. So let us dive in and see what makes Kingdom Hearts so extremely special. We select Standard Mode because it's been many moons since I last played. Then we get an opening with the very famous song Simple and Clean, which I cannot play. It may have been 23 years, but Squeenix still despises when you play the song, and most of the music in all the Kingdom Hearts series for that matter. Shout out to nearly all of my mods getting muted for the entire series. Thanks, Squeenix! Getting past this, our main boy lands on top of a mysterious pillar with a stained glass window of snow white. Here we're guided by a mysterious voice and learn basic movement before being told to select a power we want, between either a sword, shield, or rod. And after choosing one, we then have to discard another between the two we didn't select. This will determine our starting stats and the abilities we learn throughout the run. Here's the abilities for those that want to make an informed decision, and I'll leave a link in the description for those that want it. In my case, I chose the rod and discarded the shield for that real glass cannon experience. The pillars then collapse, leading us to another, this time with Cinderella. Remember this, it'll be on the test. Here we get to learn the fun stuff. Violence! Attacking in Kingdom Hearts is pretty straightforward. Just select the attack option, hit the X button, and our boy will attack. Easy. You can also press R1 to lock onto an enemy so they don't leave your sight. There's more to it, but I'm going to save that for later when we have a bit more to chew on. Keeping it moving, we beat up some of these ants before getting sucked into the darkness. It doesn't kill our boy, instead it leads into another tutorial, this time about items and interactions. Pressing our favorite button on the PlayStation controller, we get some free stuff before opening this door, getting to the strangest part about Kingdom Hearts 1. Titus, Waka, and Selphie are here, now in more childlike forms than their original Final Fantasy counterparts. But that is not the weird part. They ask us some deep questions like, what we want out of life? What are we afraid of? What are the numbers on the back of Mom's credit card? Wait a minute. After choosing our answers, we're then told when our journey is going to begin. Dawn, midday, or dusk. This doesn't tell you anything, but it's actually extremely important. It's your EXP curve for the run. Dawn levels up faster at the first 50 levels, but slows down at the last 50, with dusk being the opposite. Midday's right in the middle with an even curve the whole way. I picked midday for this playthrough, though part of that is because I completely forgot what this entire section meant. It's not really great at telling you what this does. With that, we go back to the pillars, fight a few more ants, and then finally get to save the game at this save point, which also restores our HP and MP for free. We can finally access the pause menu, thank God. Pro tip, you cannot access the pause menu during fights, so make sure your affairs are in order. And with ours in order, we head up here and get told that the closer we get to light, the greater our shadow is. We then turn around, our shadow tears itself from the floor. Our boy then steps back in fear, which makes the shadow get real beefed up, like just real swole, goddamn. This is our first boss fight, Dark Side. Now I'll talk about the combat in depth. First off, we have a menu down here. Using the D-pad, we can change which option is selected. Pressing X does that action or opens a sub-menu in the case of items and magic, though we don't have magic just yet, so let's save that for later. As for attack, repeatedly pressing it makes our boy do a combo, which has, for now, 3 hits. The last hit is a finisher, which does big damage and has good reach. Something I'd also like to point out now is that, we can't block or dodge at the moment. It's not that big a deal, but it does kind of suck when muscle memory kicks in and instead of defending yourself, you just take a hit to the face. The other thing I want to take the time to talk about is tech points. Killing enemies is the only way to get XP. You can also do special actions to give you experience as well, such as deflecting an enemy's attack with your own. In the case of Dark Side, it's by hitting him in the head with a finisher. It's actually quite satisfying to do and shows that even in the first game, Kingdom Hearts was able to do some more complex things with its combat system, and even encourage you to find its mechanics by awarding you points for doing so. I like tech points a lot. Sadly, they disappear as the series goes on, but I really enjoy their addition here. And after hitting Dark Side in the head enough to concuss a small city, we beat him. But he drags us into the darkness, yet we're told not to worry as we have the strongest weapon of all. We're not told what that is, and we're going to open the door. We don't know what that is either. Yep, this is Kingdom Hearts alright. We then wake up on the beach. Seems it was all just a dream. Oh my god, women are real! Here we're finally introduced to our main character, Sora, as well as Kairi and Riku. The three of them live on this little island, Destiny Islands. Wait, why is it plural? Sora tells Kairi about his dream, but of course she doesn't believe him and just resorts to hitting him in the head for some tech points. Afterwards, Sora asks if Kairi remembers anything about her hometown. She doesn't, but she'd like to see it again one day, and so would Sora, as well as seeing the other worlds out there. Riku then chimes in, saying he's the only one building the raft before throwing up the whole ass log at Sora. But with the spirit of adventure running through all of them, they have a quick race before working on the raft once again. We get some items that Kairi asks us to get so we can finish the raft, which allows us to safely explore the Destiny Islands. Honestly, this whole intro section is really nice. We get to meet the main cast, see how the three of them interact, and while there's some friendly competition as we go on, the three of them do clearly care for each other. There's a lot of instances of Sora wanting to break free of Riku's shadow since he's viewed as the cool one, and, you know, they are kids after all. Speaking of, we can also talk to Waka, Selphie, and Titus in order to challenge them to a friendly fight. You can also challenge Riku, but he is really hard to fight right now, and each time you lose, you see the score go up against you. This doesn't actually affect anything, but it does get you in the mindset of Sora. Yeah, Sora, I also want to beat Riku's ass. This fight is ridiculous. But since we have everything, we hand them to Kairi, who gives us a high potion as thanks. We have a nice sit in this big old palm tree, and the trio talks about what could be beyond the island they live on. Riku even wonders why they're on the island, if there are other worlds out there, and if there are, then the one they're living in must be part of something greater. But as the trio goes home, Riku tosses Sora a Paopu fruit, which is said that if two people share it, their destinies become intertwined. Sora acts like he doesn't know what Riku means, but Riku insists that he knows Sora wants to try it, and Sora just yeets that fruit away. Rip Paopu fruit. Then we hard cut to fucking Disney Castle, baby. I love corporations, please don't sue me. This place also plays the Mickey Mouse March on loop forever, and let me tell you, we had to play that almost every day in my music class at high school, so this song sets off a primal rage within me. In the castle, Donald Duck is here looking like a wizard. Goes to the throne room and greets the king of the castle. Oh, he's gone. Of course. But Pluto is here and he has a letter with Mickey's head on it. Reading it sends Donald into a Donald. And he runs into the garden to find Goofy looking like a knight. Donald tries to explain the situation quietly, but we all know how that goes.
Oh, good morning, ladies!
I'm sure it's nothing serious. Back to the island. Today we're getting food for the journey, which consists of a single plate of breakfast food. These kids are gonna die at sea. We're also giving access to the backside of the island with a race we can participate in against Riku, where the winner gets to name the raft. I had my chat name it Beagle. Riku then pulls a fast one Sora by saying whoever wins the race gets to share a Palpo fruit with Kairi, which Kairi somehow doesn't hear despite being like a meter away. Let's not worry about that. Let's crush Riku under our big clown shoes. Pay for yesterday, you little shit. This'll show you. Yeah, take that, child. The 28-year-old adult just kicked your ass. Man, you suck, Riku. But we get back to gathering food, even showing off this bug here. Perfect. That's the good shit. We also enter this cave that has lots of drawings of lands the trio have imagined. Sora even has a flashback to when he and Kairi drew each other in the cave. Aw, he does care. He just can't process his emotions because he's a child. It's okay, Sora. I'm 28 and I also struggle with processing emotions. But before we can leave, a guy wearing a brown cloak speaks some mysterious words at us about a door to the world in the darkness. Ooh. Sora asks who the flipping flip he is since we've never seen him before, with Sora even guessing he might be from another world. But the cloak that walks like a man says we know nothing and refuses to elaborate, of course. But when the door is mentioned, Sora turns to it before turning back with the cloaked man mysteriously disappearing. Sorry, Sora, Island's haunted. Since our collection of foodstuffs is done, we head over to Kairi and prep it for the journey. When we do, Kairi shows off the wayfinder charm she's making. Maybe this way the three of them will always be able to find each other. But enough about that, Kairi. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Okay, it doesn't go like that. Sora and Kairi instead sit on the dock talking a little about how Riku has changed before Kairi jokingly suggests that just her and Sora should leave together. She then says that she was nervous about leaving, but is excited to explore knowing she can come back here whenever she wants. You are right, Kairi. It is nice having a home to come back to. Sure hope nothing happens to it. Back over at the Cease and Desist Castle, we get to see what the letter Mickey wrote to Donald says, which basically says, hey, go to find the Chosen One, the key to seal the keyhole and stop the Darks from destroying worlds. Don't follow me. Love, Mickey. So Donald and Goofy, with the help of Jiminy to chronicle their journey, head out in search of the king and possibly the key, whichever comes first really, they're not that picky. But they are picky about us keeping the order between worlds. Whatever they do, they can't let others know that other worlds exist. Why not? Man, I sure like to tell you about that, but it almost never matters unless the plot wants it to matter. I can tell you that the two of them are about to head out in the gummy ship. As for Sora, he's lounging around on his bed, but then it becomes a dark and stormy night. Sora springs out of bed to save the raft so it doesn't get destroyed, and then his mom calls him for dinner. This is the only time she's ever mentioned in the entire franchise. Outside, oh my god, it's a dark sun from Disgaea 2, and the ants are back. We can try to fight them, but sadly, stick no work. Instead, we search for Kairi and Riku, and speaking of the devil, there he is. Okay, Riku, let's get out of here.
The door is open.
That's great, Riku, but Kairi...
The door is open, Sora.
Okay, but the...
Now we can go to the outside world.
Alright, well, he's lost it, but luckily before we're both devoured by the absence of light, we're given a giant key. This is the Keyblade. Even if you've never seen Kingdom Hearts in your entire life, you've probably seen this weapon somewhere before. Practical? No. Iconic? Absolutely. And now we can finally kill those ants. With the Keyblade, we cut a path into the secret spot, now with a fancy door we saw in the tutorial area. Kairi's here. Let's get out of here, Kairi. Never mind, she's one of the ghosts now. And since the ghost wind is affecting us too, we get sent back outside. And the island is not doing so hot. Looks a lot more like a Destiny boulder right now. And that big beefcake Darkseid's back. But we know what to do. We beat his ass again. This time with the power of the Keyblade. Something I'd like to mention is that in this game, landing on the ground interrupts your air combo, allowing me to do this. Why wait for the full finisher animation when you can land the hit and reset instantly? This is a little janky, but feels pretty good to pull off, and it'll come back in a big way later, trust me. It'll be glorious. As for Darkseid, he's still easy as pie. Alright, we got him, we did. I just had to hit him one more time. Unfortunately for us, the damage is already done, and despite our best efforts, Sora, as well as the rest of the Destiny Islands, are sucked into the unknown.
The man, now walking the path he had as a child, knew the journey ahead would be a laborious one. Many struggles would be ahead for the man. His journey of over 13 years would be done within a short 13 months. But now, with new eyes, he embraced the path forward, marching ahead without fear or hesitation. For he knew he walked now as both a man with knowledge and as the child he once was. In that knowing, he would view the work once more. Would he embrace the work as he had done, or cast it into the abyss once more, never to be seen again by his venomous eyes? Only the passage of time will tell us the answer. Let us observe the man's journey and witness the outcome together.
Somewhere else, Donald and Goofy are now in New Dud, seeing a shooting star in the sky, and we see that we're now in Traverse Town. They dismiss the star and instead search for the key that Mickey mentioned, saying that maybe Leon knows about it. No, not that Leon. Pluto wanders off, finding Sora in the trash. He survived! Pluto runs off, as Pluto does a lot in this series, and Sora is left to his own devices to explore the new spooky world. There's not much info to glean, but we can find Sid, specifically Sid from Final Fantasy VII. He's running an accessory shop and is initially disappointed when Sora walks in, but once he learns the situation, he offers his help if Sora ever needs it. Thanks, Sid. After some questionable exploring by me, we enter the town's second district, just in time to see someone get their heart ripped out. The heart floats away before becoming another one of those shadow creatures. It disappears, and then the ants are back again! We wander around town, Sora leaving just as Donald and Goofy enter. This keeps going for a while, but we then learn that the 99 Dalmatian puppies have been lost across the world, so if we find any, we'll bring them back home. This is also the only game they're in. After more wandering, we level up and learn Stun Impact. This lets me briefly talk about how abilities work. Each of them requires a certain amount of AP to equip, so you can only have so many abilities on at once. This is much more of a consideration for later, but right now, yeah, we're fine. Stun Impact works by changing our ground finisher to have a 30% chance to be, well, Stun Impact. This is an AoE that can stun enemies that are hit by it, including a few bosses. I'm also taking the time to explain these abilities and showing what they can do because none of the Kingdom Hearts games ever show you a video of how these attacks work. And if Squeenix isn't gonna do it, then I will. Getting back to exploring Traverse Town, we keep going until we loop back to the first district where we find Leon, who's actually Squall from Final Fantasy VIII. He informs Sora that the Keyblade is how you get ants before trying to take it from us. Of course, Sora refuses, and Leon decides it's time to show this child why his gunblade isn't stupid, it's cool. So Leon's fight is also pretty tricky for this point in the game as he deals a lot of damage. We don't have to win this fight, but since we learned Stun Impact, if it works, Leon gets stunned, letting us beat the shit out of him. We can also pretty easily deflect Leon's attacks with jump attacks, and even though Leon tries to blow us up with fireballs, we're still able to beat him. That kid. Alright, we did it, we beat him! Good work, Sora. How do you feel?
Now you're gonna...
Oh, you're slipping, Leon.
Oh, hi Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII. After the two of them chat, the screen fades out and we see Riku in a very strange place with reverse waterfalls. This scene also isn't dubbed for some reason, but Riku calls out for Sora and Kairi before we see a mysterious villain in a black cloak watching him. Ooh. Back in Traverse Town, Donald and Goofy are still searching for the key before Aerith, also from Final Fantasy VII, appears asking if the king sent them. Back to Sora, he's in a hotel room waking up to Kairi.
I'm so glad that you're okay, Kairi.
Kairi? Who are you talking about?
Wait, no, it's Yuffie. Go back to sleep, Sora. They also took away Sora's Keyblade because the creatures wouldn't stop following him while he had it, though it won't work for long. Leon then wonders how Sora could be the chosen one before he picks up the Keyblade and it teleports back to Sora's hand. Kinda making me wonder how you got away from him to begin with, but whatever. And in Sora's own words,
Why don't you start making sense? What's going on here?
so it's time for some exposition. Sora, as well as Donald and Goofy in the other room with Aerith, gets some explanation of what's going down. We learn that the worlds were supposed to be a secret from each other since they were never connected. Since the Heartless came, that's changed. The Heartless are the creatures we've been fighting up to this point. And what are they, Leon?
Those without hearts.
Thank you. They're attracted to the darkness within people's hearts. We're also told that the researcher Ansem has been studying the Heartless, but sadly his research has been scattered across the many worlds. Before Goofy just fucking drops everything to go find the research notes, Donald reminds him that they have to find the key. Aerith then says that they're looking for the Keyblade. Obviously, it's one giant key, so it's probably important. Keyblade is something the Heartless fear, which is why they'll keep trying to kill Sora. Sora says,
Well, I didn't ask for this.
but sadly, Sora, you're our main character in RPG, so you'll just have to deal with it. After this, we have a quick chat with Yuffie where she says the Keyblade can open all kinds of locks. so we can pop open this chest with a massive lock on it, which gives us an elixir. The idea of the Keyblade opening locks is used quite a bit, and it's a nice way of not having locks on most of the chests, because sometimes just getting to the damn chest is enough of a challenge. But it's time to go. A Heartless pops in the room and Leon tells Yuffie to go get Aerith, which she does by slamming the door open and crushing Donald. Leon then knocks the invading Heartless out the fucking window, which really doesn't happen a lot in this series, and it's pretty funny in retrospect. Sora follows Leon outside while poor Donald's made into a Paper Mario character. He then tells us to not bother with the small fry and to find the leader before running off because they didn't give him friendly AI. But I stick around and fight a few of these Heartless. In the rest of the series, these guys are pushovers. Kingdom Hearts 1 though? Also, it's very real to die right now. These guys are much more difficult to deal with. Yeah, they beat my ass, so I book it to the 3rd district where we see Donald and Goofy trapped on a balcony with one of the Heartless. Luckily, Donald's playing a wizard who just so happened to have learned Fireball. Yeah, that looks about right. This makes them land on top of Sora, finding the Keyblade. But before we can talk about it, we're surrounded by Heartless, so it's time to kick ass together. That's right, boys, we finally have a party. Donald and Goofy are here to not only help us out with the fighting, but also take aggro away so you don't get overwhelmed. We'll get more in depth shortly because we have more pressing matters, like this boss fight. This is guard armor. This fight can be a wake-up call because good lord the damage. And we still can't block or dodge, so we'll have to rely on deflecting and good positioning to take him out. It can be pretty tricky because guard armor is really big, and I wish the camera was just a touch more zoomed out for extra clarity, which is sadly a problem with most of Kingdom Hearts 1's bosses, but it's minor most of the time. My strategy for guard armor was to keep my distance for a bit, then go once he's either been stunned or finished an attack. And also destroy the different limbs, and by doing so we limit guard armor's attacks, to the point he decides he wants to be a Beyblade for a bit. This fight also shows that stun impact can be unreliable as fuck when it doesn't want to work, because it did not go off a single time during this fight despite my attempts to do so. Despite that, we're still able to beat him handily, making guard armor release a giant heart that was inside of him. We then talk with Donald and Goofy as they inform Sora why they're here. Since Donald and Goofy found Sora with the key, but they need to find the King Anson research stones as well, they offer to bring Sora to the other worlds to try and find Kairi and Riku together, especially because they need the Keyblade with him. But Sora seems pretty upset since he hasn't found Kairi or Riku yet, but Donald and Goofy insist that their ship runs on smiles, so they need Sora to be happy. Come on Sora, you gotta have that toxic positivity. So Sora does this. Sora's such a good boy. Sora decided to go with Donald and Goofy. The three of them put their hands together, ready for adventure. But then, evil villains! They're watching our trio flabbergasted that Sora took down that giant Heartless. They might be silhouettes, but it's very clear these are all Disney villains. Hey, it's not my fault they want to be mysterious but have good character design. After some bickering, Maleficent appears, saying that even if he conquers the darkness or is devoured by it, he'll still be useful. Ooh, so evil. We then head back to the gang in Traverse Town. They give Sora a going away present before Donald teaches us our first spell, Fire, and then Goofy finally teaches us Dodge Roll. Finally, a defensive option. This allows us to, well, dodge roll by pressing square when we press a direction, giving us invincibility frames during the roll. Extremely helpful in every game, and the longer this series goes on without giving me dodge or block at the start, the more upset I get. Going back to magic, fire, well, shoots a fireball, what leads me to talking about magic in Kingdom Hearts 1. See, fire costs 1 MP to use, and the reason I'm bringing up specific numbers is that this game's NP system's a little strange compared to the rest of the series, though it's not alone in that regard. Now that we have spells, the MP gauge will get an orange line going up at each time you land a hit, and once that orange line hits the top of the MP you're missing, it will give you 1 MP. It also goes down as you use spells, so it can be used just like MP, though it's far more vague. It should also be noted that the more maximum MP you have, the more damage you deal with spells, which is why I took the Raw at the start, as max MP is very hard to come by. And while fire is a bit underwhelming now since it's just a basic fireball, the later spells in this game, oh boy, you're gonna see some shit later, let me tell you what. Back to the town, we explore finding a Trinity mark that we can use since Donald and Goofy are with us now. Anything else? Oh yeah, I completely forgot about Jiminy. He's here too. He tracks the people we meet, gives us summaries of the story in each world, and notes down the Heartless we fight, and keeps our minigame high scores for us. I hope we don't lose those minigame high scores, they're very important. Alright, I've yapped enough. Let's go to space! It's time to fly the gummy ship. I don't know why Donald and Goofy allow Sora, the literal 12-year-old, to fly a spaceship, but it's Disney, so whatever. Let's select a world and head out.
Change. Please change. For God's sake.
The gameplay of the gummy ship in this game is bad. Now, the gummy ship is fully customizable, but at its core, it is not a good time. It is agonizingly slow, which wouldn't be that bad if things happened, but yeah. It's like someone walked up to Squinks and said, "Hey Squinks, give me a Star Fox with extra space." Extra space. And hold the enemies. Hold the enemies. And hold the fun. Hold the fun. Hey Chibi, give us space with nothing. There's not much else to talk about here aside from getting new pieces of the ship so you can go to more worlds and eventually being able to skip the trips altogether with a warp. Let's just go to our first world.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Yeah, boy, it's time for Nomura's favorite world. No, really, it shows up the most out of any of the worlds in the series. We head in finding Phil. He assumes he's talking to Herc, so he instantly has us do manual labor. Of course, Sora has small baby arms, so he can't move this giant boulder. He then complains to Phil.
It's way too heavy.
What? Too heavy? Since when have you been such a little
Bitch.
Oh, wrong guy.
Phil then boasts about the Coliseum being for heroes only, but after the trio complains that they are heroes,
We're heroes too.
Hero? That grunt?
What's so funny?
Phil concedes and gives them a trial to test them. It's just breaking some barrels, nothing too crazy. After that, Phil insists we're not heroes and refuses to let us into the games, but then gives us the Thunder spell, which is pretty nice of him because Thunder is a very powerful spell in these games, just hitting enemies in a big AoE. Very, very nice. Thank you, Phil. Well, I guess we have nothing else to do here. Time to leave.
Rather a stubborn old goat, wouldn't you say?
Oh boy, here comes Satan. Hades Nuts here offers Sora a pass in the Coliseum gates for absolutely nothing. Yep, no warning flags here. Let's go.
Good luck, kid. I'm pulling for you, little shorty.
Phil instantly folds when we hand him the pass and asks no questions, so he's completely fine to let a child throw himself into danger. So that's just what we do. As is tradition with most of the iterations of the Coliseum, we get to do several battles in a row. We even get to see how absurdly powerful Thunder is.
Thunder! Here!
After a few battles, we then see a mysterious spiky-haired character pass by us. Huh, I wonder who that could be. Oh well, back to the fights. Since we also now have 2 spells, something that's very helpful in Kingdom Hearts is that you can assign 3 spells or items to shortcuts. There's only 3 instead of the later games which have 4, but it's plenty since we just chew through the Heartless that are apparently allowed to participate. If it was like a tournament of people fighting monsters, that'd be one thing, but the Heartless teams have names and places in the brackets, which imply to me that they're sentient enough to not only willingly participate in these tournaments, but also give their teams silly names like Blue Revenge, which is all Blue Rhapsodies, or Big One, which prominently features the worst enemy in the series, Large Body. I swear to God, no matter what game in the series it is, these guys always get in the way when I'm attacking something else. I hate them. After we get far enough in the tournament, we see Hades talking to the guy from before, and I might as well drop the act because anyone who's with Final Fantasy knows that spiky hair anywhere. It's Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. Seems to have made some kind of deal with Hades to fight Hercules, and Cloud will have to fight Sora to get to Herc. Cloud reluctantly goes through with it while Hades plots further.
Hey, it's like that old goat says. Rule number 11. It's all just a game, so let loose and have fun with it!
Going forward with the... Running it back, we get all the way up to Cloud. Time to fight him. Alright, good start. Yeah, Cloud's extremely dangerous and we get our ass beat. Luckily, we're allowed to lose this fight and Cloud spares Sora, and we get a very strangely made cutscene. Is Cloud just fucking dead? Luckily, Herc stops Cerberus and has Phil evacuate the trio. Don't know if Cloud is okay. Maybe his hair acted as a cushion? Questions for later. But after we get out, we're right back in there to help. Oh hey, Herc's got Cloud in his shoulder. Guess he is fine. But since Cerberus would rather fight the trio for some reason, he turns his attention to us, giving Herc the chance to escape with Cloud.
Kid, I got 2 words of advice for you. Attack!
So despite being like 4 to 5 times Sora's size, Cerberus is far easier to fight than Cloud. Though we still gotta be careful, he can chunk us pretty good. This is what I get for going glass cannon build. Cerberus' attacks are quite simple and have pretty good tells, so they're not that hard to dodge. Though I'd like to give a shout out to this shockwave attack, which feels like it's designed to waste my time. But after a few attempts lost due to greed, we learn the pattern and put Cerberus back in the doghouse. This has Phil give us the title of Junior Heroes, giving us full access to the games and tournaments at the Coliseum. Donald gets upset at being called Junior Heroes, with Phil saying the trio doesn't understand what it means to be a true hero. When Goofy asks what it takes, Herc just says it's something we'll have to find out on our own. Thanks, man. But the games are going to be shut down for a while, so it's time for us to head out for real this time. Though before we do, we ask Cloud how he's doing. He says he's looking for someone, and Hades said he'd help, with Cloud knowingly trying to exploit the power of the darkness, but it backfired. He even says he lost his light because of this. Sora reassures him that Cloud will find his light, as Sora's searching for his own as well. With that, Cloud gets up and gives Sora some air, and then Sora asks for a rematch with no dark powers involved, and Cloud rejects him in the most edgy anime boy way possible.
I think I'll pass.
Christ. But for Cloud's edgy display, we're granted Sonic Blade, an ability that allows Sora to thrust the Keyblade at enemies repeatedly. This is activated by being at a vague distance away from the enemy and then pressing triangle when you see the Sonic prompt appear. Then you hit the triangle when you see Rave or Blast. This is a very effective attack, and on top of that, it makes you invincible when you started. Only problem is that it costs 3 AP to equip, which is our maximum right now, but that'll change soon. We finally leave and get to see Hades throwing a fit because of Hercules, but he calms himself as he knows all the pieces are in place and will get both Herc and Sora the next games. As Hades says this, Maleficent shows up before Hades shoos her away. These sissy villains really don't get along, do they? Makes me wonder how the hell they even formed a group in the first place. Flying over to the next world, Donald's about to brush it off as there's no way the king would ever visit a world like that. Sora interjects saying that Kairi and Riku be there, and after an argument, the gummy ship crashes into the world.
Oh, eat a dick, Jungle! Cover it with malaria and leeches, sprinkle some dengue fever on it, and eat a big goddamn jungly dick!
Welcome to the jungle. And after Sora survives crashing into a wooden home at terminal velocity with only a bump on his head, he's instantly in mortal danger because he's going to be mauled to death by an actual honest-to-God real leopard. Though with that being said, this fight is really easy. It comes with the territory when you have magic. After playing dead, Sabor leaps at Sora again. Luckily, Tarzan swoops in, somehow spinning around a pillar that's the size of him, and makes Sabor retreat by jumping out a window that has glass in the middle of the jungle. Let's ignore that because we need to ask Tarzan some questions.
What is this place?
This place.
Okay.
Okay, this is gonna be harder than I thought. Tarzan isn't able to speak English very well, but he is able to understand the concept of a friend. I think. Getting excited, Sora tries to ask where Donald is before cutting himself off, likely remembering the argument they just had, before shifting to ask about Kairi and Riku. And while Tarzan repeats Kairi, Riku, and friends back at Sora, Sora zones out and sees Kairi behind Tarzan before she disappears. But after Tarzan gives some gorilla speech,
Huh?
Tarzan and Sora head out together. We then see Donald and Goofy alone in a grove. Goofy wonders where Sora is, while Donald says they won't need him to find the king, despite that literally being one of the king's objectives. But Donald's likely still sore about the argument. Donald then accidentally smacks this gorilla in the head, causing both of them to scream. This makes the gorilla run off and drop this shiny rock. Cool, I love rocks. This also attracts Clayton, who just straight up has a double-barrel shotgun. I think there's a reason Deep Jungle didn't come back after Kingdom Hearts 1. Swords and other fancy weapons are one thing, but real guns just feel very out of place. You know, despite this guy. Actually, I think I figured out why Cypher doesn't have his gunblade in Kingdom Hearts 1, beyond the fact that it just looks fucking stupid. Real guns just don't show up in Kingdom Hearts. I'm rambling at this point. Hey, editing bell here. Turns out the real reason is because the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate forbids Disney from reusing Tarzan again. They were actually going to use Deep Jungle again in Chain of Memories, even going as far as making a card sprite for the keychain. But since Disney was told no, they can't use Tarzan again. Okay, back to the video. The more important point is that Tarzan's in our party now. This is actually something that happens a few times in the game, and when we inevitably join up with Donald and Goofy again, we'll have to choose who we want in the party then. But I'm gonna level with you now, it's almost always a better idea to use Donald and Goofy in this game than the guest members. As for now, since I finally got 4 AP from the Sabor fight, we can give Sonic Blade a try, but only after this sick Jungle Slider minigame. If this heart-pumping action is too much for you, you can just end the video right now. After our slide down the trees, we land in this camp, and after pilfering anything we can get our hands on, including these slides, we enter the main tent. Here we find Jane, who's taken aback by Sora's ability to speak English.
So then, obviously you're not related to Tarzan.
Yes, that's the only way to tell. But when Jane asks if we're here to study the gorillas, Clayton cuts her off, bringing Donald and Goofy with them. Donald and Sora are happy to see each other before acting like they never want to speak again. Clayton then leaves, saying we won't be helpful hunting gorillas, to which Jane corrects him, saying we're just here to research them. Though Clayton either doesn't hear her or just lays his cards on the table and hopes no one will challenge him because he's the only owner of a real gun in this series. But after Clayton leaves, Jane offers everyone to make themselves at home, to which both Sora and Donald say they're staying, much to Sora's surprise. Goofy then shows Sora what they found, which is actually a gummy block for the ship. We then use the slides we found earlier on Jane's projector to try and get Tarzan to understand the concept of a friend. Though before we get too far, Sora sees a slide of a castle that somehow seems familiar to him, even though he's never left his island. Where have we seen a castle before? I knew it! Sadly, we conclude that Tarzan doesn't know where Kairi and Riku are, with Clayton interjecting that the only place they could be is with the gorillas. Do you guys think he wants to find the gorillas? And since Tarzan refuses to take them to the gorillas, that's the only place Clayton hasn't been. Again, I wonder why. But Tarzan decides to go and talk to the gorillas, seeing if they will allow anyone to see them. Clayton offering himself as an escort since the jungle is so dangerous, especially for the guy who's been living here his whole life. Clayton, you are aware that evil smiles in front of everyone, right? Ignoring that somehow, we leave and oh sweet Jesus, Sabora's back! Look out, Sora! Oh, already, never mind. After that, we explore for a bit and I swap out Tarzan for Goofy so I can activate this training out. Oh god, not again! Something else I want to point out about this area is that we can actually use the equipment here to synthesize items, though not through a menu. We instead light this fire on the stove, and then once we found the notes around the camp, we use the stove to cook a potion into a high potion. It's little quirks like this I find so fascinating about Kingdom Hearts 1. None of the other games have environmental interactions like 1 does, and even if they do, it's usually relegated to things like a door requiring an item. We never get cooking with Sora in the future games. Well, okay, we do, but
Oops. Oh. Sorry.
Never again. Moving along, we climb up this vine for everyone's favorite part of Deep Jungle, the swinging vines. Aw yeah, baby, look at that jank. And the punishment for screwing up is having to do it all over again. Let's go! I'm exaggerating this for the sake of comedy, at least I fucking hope I am. But this still feels weird to use, and having us go all the way back anytime we mess up is not great. Getting past the vines, Tarzan talks to the gorillas and he pleads with Kerchak to let us see the nesting grounds because we need their help. Unsurprisingly, Kerchak says nothing and leaves, but Sora thinks he was distracted by something at the treehouse we saw earlier. Don't know how Sora knows that considering, but time to head over there and god damn it. After getting exceedingly lost for a good part of 20 minutes, we finally climb back up to the trees and find the treehouse, where Clayton almost shoots the most annoying character in the film. Sadly, Donald distracts him, making Clayton miss and allows Turk to live another day. Of course, this pisses off Kerchak, and despite Tarzan's pleas, he and Turk leave in silence. Tarzan looks back at Clayton, who says he was actually trying to save that gorilla's life by shooting a snake. Ah, yes, of course. I'll be sure to look out for the incredibly deadly viper as well. Getting back to camp, Jane chews out Clayton, rightfully so, and not a single person believes him when he tries to defend himself again. I love this shot of everyone just looking at him sternly, except Donald and Goofy and Tarzan just in their idle animations. Clayton storms out and something seems to attack him, causing him to shoot at it. We rush outside to see what's happened and find Monkey Heartless have surrounded a gorilla. Oh no, we better save the day. Sonic Blade, go! Okay, that was easy. I probably didn't need the Sonic Ray for that, but alright. With the gorillas saved, they then give us another gummy block, and it becomes our objective to save the other gorillas. The game doesn't really convey this well, but that's what we gotta do. The Monkey Heartless seem intimidating, but we use the power of magic. And after fighting them for several areas, we level up, giving us Ripple Drive. This is another ground finisher that deals physical damage in an area, with the damage based off Sora's max MP. Very good for our build, good shit. After I save the last of the gorillas, I get extremely lost once again because the game, again, doesn't tell us where to go. What we have to do is head over to that clearing Donald and Goofy were in earlier, where we find Clayton's pipe, which he never used in front of Sora and the others, but process of elimination and all that, I suppose. Then we fight Sabor one last time. Sabor instantly hits us on fight start, but I blast it with 2 Sonic Blades back to back in revenge. Sabora decides to be a little more cunning for this fight by jumping in the nearby foliage before jumping at us again. Unfortunately for the leopard, I have game mechanics on my side, and the lock-on doesn't go away when Sabora jumps to the foliage. Tank right through that shit. There we go. She shrimpled his head. And I presume we just fucking kill her as Sabor falls over and we get the white fang accessory, because I'm also assuming either Sora ripped a fang out of Sabor or Tarzan did to show Sora how to make a trophy for his hunt. Turk then runs into Jane and the two of them are beset by even more Heartless. We rush back to check on them after I do some Heartless gambling, of course, but we find the two of them are missing. Tarzan says they're by the treehouse. Okay, fine. We climb all the way back up there, and indeed we find them in a cage of vines. We better save them by really awkwardly hitting this big eggplant-looking thing repeatedly, even though it doesn't react when I hit it. Good thing Sora said it looked suspicious when we started, or else I might have stopped doing that. With Jane rescued, she says Clayton was the one who dragged her and Turk away. Alright, let's go kick Clayton's ass. Running all the way back down through the trees, which totally is giving me Kingdom Hearts 3 Arendelle PTSD, we find Clayton has trapped the gorillas by teaming up with the Heartless. Because of course he would, he's a Disney villain after all, and just, my lexicon is sorely lacking to describe the events in this scene. Just watch.
No!
Okay, after that, Tarzan calls this guy not Clayton.
Not Clayton.
God damn, this part's so silly. Okay, so we have to fight Not Clayton, which he proves that he can and will fire buckshot at a child. But the fight doesn't last long before Clayton raises his gun, making the wall behind him explode. Seemingly open to attack, Tarzan rushes him before getting knocked away by an invisible force as Not Clayton starts floating around. The real boss fight starts now. As Not Clayton floats around, he'll continue to shoot at us, but now we'll also get attacked by whatever force he's using to float around, which turns out to be a giant chameleon Heartless. It's called Stealth Sneak. No, really, and I'm gonna be honest here, it started out intimidating, but once it appeared, we were just able to separate from Clayton rather quickly. We then proceed to repeatedly saw Clayton in the balls until he died. Though Clayton isn't done yet, he's gonna shoot us, but fortunately for us, the Stealth Sneak collapses, taking him out for us. And thank God they took out Clayton like this, because I remember how he goes in the original movie. This traumatized me as a kid. With Clayton's death, we learned the power of healing and can finally use Cure. Very nice. With that, the gorillas approach Sora and yeet him away. This allows Sora and the gang to access the gorillas' home, and after grabbing some items, we head into our final stop for Deep Jungle. Tarzan's home. He says we can see our friends here, adding something else in gorilla. Jane somehow figures out what Tarzan's saying means heart. So Tarzan brought us here to see the friends in our heart. He even says Clayton lost his heart so we can no longer see his friends. Oh, so that's why he was not Clayton. Okay, gotcha. Sora then apologizes to Donald and Donald does the same. Goofy bringing them together as well. The butterflies on the wall then disperse, showing us the world's keyhole. So Sora uses the keyblade on it, sealing this world's heart from the Heartless. It also gives us a new gummy block.
I think someone has a new admirer.
No. This would kill me.
Are they implying he'd fuck the gorilla? You know what? Let's just get the hell out of here. We then see Maleficent with the other villains, saying Clayton's lust for power is what consumes him. Jafar then steps forward, insulting the dead man before showing concern about Sora since he was able to seal one of the keyholes. Maleficent claims it'll take ages for Sora to find the other keyholes, and that Sora's completely unaware of their other plans to gather princesses, which they already have, Snow White. Cutting back to Tarzan and the gang, Tarzan gives Sora a gift. It's the keychain for Jungle King. Keychains are used in this game to change the Keyblade shape, which changes its stats and even its range. In this case, the Jungle King keychain has a longer reach and much more strength, but has a lower critical hit chance, which is completely fine since it doesn't affect our magic stat. And I swear, I didn't forget to equip it.
There's more soup! What do you mean there's more soup? There's just more soup! Go into the next aisle! There's still soup! Where are you right now? I'm at soup! What do you mean you're at soup? I mean I'm at soup!
Alice in Wonderland, a story that has way too many different interpretations. I specifically remember this one from, I think, 1997. That was a TV special that we had on VHS. I remember this scene where she just floods a room by crying. I don't know why, but I just do. Anyways, back in Kingdom Hearts, the trio lands gracefully. Though before we can get our bearings, the white rabbit rushes past us saying he'll be late because the rabbit's always late. With no other real idea where to go, we follow him, finding him shrunken down in the other room. So, how do we get smaller? Well, this living doorknob tells us to quaff one of the drinks on this magically appearing table, of course. It's Wonderland, just go with it. We also have to drink this other bottle to get big again, shove this bed into the wall, and now we can proceed. The weird order of operations, but whatever. We enter the garden and we see Alice is on trial by the Queen of Hearts, being accused of trying to steal her heart. Sora wants to intervene, but Dawn reminds him that they're not allowed to meddle in the affairs of other worlds. Ooh. This lasts about 10 seconds as the Queen sentences Alice to be beheaded. Of course, this is actually just France. So we rush in and defend Alice. We're then demanded proof, but it's a hot commodity we don't really have, so it's time for us to go find some. Alice will stay in this cage while we do that. Seeking evidence, we arrive to this small forest area. This is where we meet the Cheshire Cat, who, of course, doesn't give us a direct answer. Instead, he tells us there's 4 pieces of evidence we can find. Well, we better get searching then. The first few are extremely easy, but I end up getting lost for a bit anyway. The reason is because we need to use a potion on this flower to here to get big. We then smack the tree, rotating to give us a new platform to get across the forest and allowing us to enter the room from before. Again, later Kingdom Hearts titles don't do environmental stuff like this. I just want to highlight it because I find it so fascinating. The new entrance gives us the final piece of evidence to save Alice, and as the Cheshire Cat, give us the power of ice, allowing us to finally use Blizzard. Blizzard is an extremely powerful projectile that comes out like a shotgun, and through the magic of jump canceling can do an absurd amount of damage, assuming whatever we're fighting isn't immune or resistant to ice. With our evidence collected, we head back to the Queen to prove Alice's innocence. Of course, the Queen doesn't play fair, so she shuffles the evidence along with a dud. We better pick the right one. Nice. Despite that, the Queen of Hearts doesn't listen, decides to attack us, and now we have to fight off the card soldiers. Though they revive after we beat them, so our actual objective is to destroy this tower in the middle of the field, which the Queen draws attention to.
It's not letting me hit her. There we go. The majority of people just don't do that.
After some property damage, we win the fight and level up, finally giving us the scan ability, so now we can finally see enemy health bars when we lock onto them. We did it, Alice. We freed you. Okay, Alice. Nice invisible woman cosplay. You can come out now. Oh, she's gone for real. Shit. We better go find her. When we enter the forest again, the Cheshire Cat appears once more, saying something about an upside-down room. Well, I'm sure that doesn't mean anything. Time to go through this passage. Oh, hey, it's the Mad Hatter from Batman. The real talk, his fights in the Arkham series are super cool. I kind of have a soft spot for him, even if he is just a fucking disgusting freak in that series. Back to Kingdom Hearts, we leave the room without interacting with anything because I didn't know how it worked at the time. This gets us in the upside down version of the main room. Cheshire Cat even tells us to turn on a light to find the shadows. Thanks. Well, we do just that after killing all the Heartless in the room, of course. And then we have to go all the way back to the right side up version of this room where we talk to Cheshire Cat again. But this time it's to fight the world's boss, Trickmaster. This guy's a pain in the ass. You're only able to jump and attack his main body. His legs and arms can't be damaged. So there's a lot of jumping in store for you. There is a way to make this far easier. Hit Trickmaster with Thunder. It instantly stuns him, allowing you to go ham for a while, which Nob did twice, and I was so worried about dying I didn't even notice. Though sometimes it didn't just work at all. It's kind of weird. I think he gets like an immunity to being stunned again after a while. It's not very clear. And at about half health, Trickmaster walks over to the oven and lights his clubs on fire for more damage. Luckily, this doesn't matter too much, and hitting him repeatedly with my big key, he goes down eventually. We then have another chat with the sleepy doorknob as he gives a big yawn, revealing this world's keyhole. Sora inadvertently locks it and Wonderland is safe. I think this is supposed to be the first time he does this, but, you know, we can go wherever the hell we want, so whatever. This gives us another gummy box, and the Cheshire Cat appears to tell us Alice isn't in Wonderland anymore. Damn. Well, guess we'll have to head out and see if we can find her in another world. This is also when I realized I should have been using Jungle King the entire time.
Yeah, I should have been using this.
But we leave, and since we don't have any more worlds we can go to, head back to Traverse Town to see if we can get the navigation blocks installed.
Please change, please. Please change.
We're back. It's not immediately obvious where to go, but we'll do what we always do. Wander around until we figure it out. After a good amount of that against far more difficult enemies and finally equipping Ripple Drive, we use the red trinity to break through this gate and talk to Leon and Aerith. What? Why are you guys in the sewers? Talk about how Sora sealed the keyhole of another world and that the Keyblade just did it on its own. Leon says that Traverse Town likely has a keyhole as well, and if it isn't sealed, then Heartless will enter it, finding the world's heart. What do? Destroy the world, of course. We should probably keep sealing those keyholes, yeah? Sora has a bit of doubt that he's the one to do it, but everyone says he can do it, and that we have to find the King, Riku, and Kairi, so, should probably keep on doing it. We also ask Leon about the gummy blocks, but he has no idea how to use them, so Aerith directs us to Sid. But before we leave, Leon gives us the Earthshine. What does it do? He doesn't know, but thanks anyway, man. On the way back, we find ourselves at this door, which we can open by using fire magic. Again, you really don't see this in later games. It's so interesting. Past the door, we find this rundown house, and entering it, we find Kairi.
Reminds me of the secret place back home, where we used to scribble on the walls. Remember?
Kairi?
Sora?
Damn ghosts. But before we leave, Merlin shows up, sprucing up the place before saying the king tasked him with teaching us magic. Fairy Godmother is here as well, but we'll be talking about her in a bit. Talking to Merlin again gives us access to a training room, which gives us infinite MP against enemies so we can practice our moves, which, in retrospect, this is kind of huge foresight for action games. Training rooms weren't really a common thing until around Devil May Cry 5 all the way back in 2019. Maybe Bayonetta in 2010, but I feel like DMC5 was more influential than these. Sorry, Bayo. Talking to the fairy godmother, she says her world disappeared, as well as she's worried for Cinderella. She has nothing else for us now, so we head out and talk to Sid. He says he'll install the gummy block, but asks us to deliver a book to oh god damn it. Running all the way back, we give the book to Merlin, who says it just appeared one day in his bag, and it's missing several pages. Merlin leaves it on the stand for us to look at if we're interested. But before that, we talk to the fairy godmother again, and she tells us that the stone Leon gave us is a person whose world was destroyed, but their strong heart allowed them to live on as this gem. Which means we got summons, baby! My least used mechanic in every game that has them. Don't show that. Summons allow us to summon certain characters at the cost of our party and some of our MP. Summons I have mixed feelings about, not only in this game but in others. They have their uses though. They're especially more powerful in Proud Mode with the use of the damage storage glitch, but I can't really take advantage of that since we're on Standard Mode. Our first summon is Simba. He gives us the Proud Roar, which is a very powerful area attack, though you have to charge the attack for it to be fully effective. Though it can be extremely helpful in the right circumstances. Going back, we finally look at the book Merlin brought, and guess what? It's the 100 Acre Wood from Winnie the Pooh. Find Pooh Bear sitting on a log and he's not having a good time. Since this book has lost so many pages, everyone's disappeared except Pooh, so he's trying to figure out how to say goodbye to himself, as he's convinced he'll disappear as well. Can I just be real with you guys? This is dark as fuck. Imagine, if you will, you're sitting at home and slowly, every friend and family member you knew slowly disappears, and you're left with nothing but your own company. And in knowing your own likely inevitable demise is coming, and not even knowing how it will happen, you decide to figure out what the best way is to say goodbye to yourself. Anyways, remember when they made a bunch of shitty Winnie the Pooh horror movies? God, those sucked. We also can't really do anything in the 100 Acre Wood right now, so we vow to return to Pooh Bear and head back to Sid's. But on the way, we're beset by even more Heartless. Well, would you look at that, Riku's here. After their touching reunion, Sora asks Riku if he's seen Kairi, but he hasn't. Riku stays optimistic about it though, saying she's sure to be out there somewhere, maybe looking for them too. Riku also starts to boast about himself, just about to mention someone else, before he's cut off by Sora saving him from a Heartless. After Sora shows off and says he's been looking for him and Kairi with the help of Donald and Goofy, Riku somehow just yoinks the Keyblade from Sora. He's really got to work on that grip strength. He tosses the Keyblade back and Sora offers to have Riku come with them, but Donald instantly shuts them down because, in case you didn't notice, Donald's a bit of a shit. Turning back to Riku, he's just gone.
Like that fucking scene in Spider-Man 3 where Harry's just in the diner and he just...
Maybe we'll run into
like
Kairi
he's just
soon,
sitting there staring at Peter and the truck goes by and he's just gone somehow. Like how the fuck did Riku do that? Where did he go?
Heading into this random house, we find Sid and Leon. Glad I remembered to come here instead of going all the way back to Sid's. Here we're told about Maleficent, an evil witch commanding legions of Heartless. She's also the reason that the Final Fantasy characters lost their world, with the exception of Waka, Titus, and Selphie apparently, which is... it's even more confusing with Selphie considering she's also from Final 8, just like Squall Leon is. Those two never interact in this series, by the way, so yeah, headcanon go her. Anyways, the leader of the Final Fantasy world, or whatever the hell it was Ansem, the same Ansem that was studying the Heartless. But when their world fell, Maleficent took most of the research notes. And speak of the devil, Maleficent is lurking outside with Riku, and she is gaslighting the fuck out of him.
He quite simply replaced you with some new companions, evidently. Now he values them far more than he does you.
She offers Riku to come with her, as she'll help Riku find what he's looking for. He doesn't answer, but by the look on his face, I'm quite sure we all know what he did. Back with everyone else, Sid informs us he installed the gummy blocks we asked for and threw in a warp block for free. Thank you, Sid. Now we can skip the stupid gameplay after we've driven to places for the first time. We're also told by Aerith and Yuthi about an urban legend surrounding the Gizmo shop in the 2nd district. Sounds pretty suspicious. I better go take a look. We head over, climb to the roof of the shop, ring this bell 3 times, and revealing the key in Traverse Town. Which means you all better subscribe and hit that. So we'd head over to seal that keyhole, but we're stopped by the guard armor. It's back, this time with a vengeance. And after a quick beating, it collapses. But then, it reassembles itself in reverse, becoming the silly-looking new boss, Opposite Armor. Yet, despite the silly appearance, Opposite Armor is really dangerous. He hits extremely hard and is always floating, so things like Sonic Blade aren't as effective as they were before. Lucky for us, he has the same weakness as the first time, breaking his Rayman limbs until there's nothing left. The worst part about this fight is when he fucks off to the stairs here, making the fight extremely awkward. He also has this attack where he blasts us as a cannon. It's hard to dodge, but it's not that bad. Keep cool, don't get greedy, and you'll bring Opposite Armor down easy peasy. We even leveled up, giving us Hurricane Blast. And with the Opposite Armor's defeat, we also learn the power of wind, giving us Arrow. We'll talk about these in a bit. First, we gotta seal this keyhole. Dunzo. Now we can talk. Hurricane Blast, also known as Hurricane Wind or Hurricane Period. This is our first new air finisher, activating when a target is below Sora, making him spin vertically. Very nice. As for Arrow, it creates a wind barrier around the target you cast it on, making them take half damage. Extremely useful, but I wasn't sure what it did at the time, so I didn't use it until later. Getting back to it, we talked to Sid and he says he's in the gummy block business, so if we talk to him about gummies, he'll give us a big discount. Disclaimer, discount may not be real, only in your mind. We also show him the new Navi gummy we found, but we can't use it yet. It needs another piece. That being said, we have to install some gummies, so it's time to make our very own gummy ship. And let me tell you, this editor controls like ass. Like up and down, does not go up and down. Instead, it brings the blocks you're placing forward and backwards in 3D space. What you have to do is use L1 and L2 to bring the blocks up and down. And just no. So getting through this as quickly as possible, I made the base of the ship I eventually wanted to make, but I couldn't be asked to color it, so you know, this is what it is now. But with that, we leave Traverse Town ready to search for more worlds. Leaving, we get told by Chip and Dale, who I forgot to mention the mechanics of the gummy ship, that the Coliseum is having a new tournament. Better head in there and crush it. While we do that, let's talk about Donald and Goofy's AI. See, in Kingdom Hearts, you're able to customize, at least to some extent, how Donald and Goofy act. In my experience, the best way to do it is something like this. This way, Donald will spam magic like there's no tomorrow, and Goofy won't knock away enemies when you're trying to combo them like he does here.
Damn it, Goofy. Just completely knocked that away from me while I was trying to fight him.
Shout out to Stickman Chan's video about them. They helped me get the most out of these two in all the main Kingdom Hearts games. We'll be changing Donald and Goofy's AI and abilities again later, but for now, we're able to crush the tournament, giving us the power of the stars, letting us learn one of the most powerful spells in the game, and in the series really, Gravity. Gravity, for reasons well beyond me, costs 1 MP and deals a percentage of HP damage to the targets. For that alone, you should know that having a spell like this is absurd for only costing 1 MP. The main downside is that it takes a few seconds for gravity to actually land, and most bosses are either resistant or immune to it. With that being said, holy shit, this spell is busted. There's a reason we're not allowed to ever use the spell again after Chain of Memories. Alright, let's get back to progressing the story.
Close this thing back up. Yeah.
Nate? Be careful.
Come on. I always am.
Agra, bro. I did it peak comedy. Don't let anyone tell you that I'm not funny.
Peak comedy aside, we see Maleficent and Jafar. Since the Heartless are on it, they're instead looking for Jasmine, but she disappeared as Iago informs them. This causes Jafar and Maleficent to get into a short argument about Jasmine's worth before Maleficent says Jasmine is one of the 7 princesses of heart. You need to open the final door. What could that be? Who knows? It's not me. Jafar says they'll find her eventually and summons Heartless to search for her, but Maleficent reminding him that the Heartless will consume the careless. Of course, Jafar brushes this off because all Disney villains are vain and arrogant. We see Jasmine is literal feet away from the evil pair. How they can't find her, I really don't know. Anyways, welcome to Agrabah, Sora. Jesus Christ.
Alright, boys, wake up. Time to go. Shit.
Yeah, this game has no qualms fucking you up at a moment's notice. Agrabah is a strange place to get around. There's a lot of verticality, but the place we're in at the game, we don't have a lot of ways to get up easily. It's also extraordinarily easy to get lost in, as we'll see later. We wander around a bit before we finally find Jasmine. I'm glad she instantly trusts these strangers while she's being hunted by Jafar. Jasmine gives Sora a rundown of what's happening. You know, princess who is Sultan who's currently being deposed by Jafar on the run from him. The usual princess stuff. She's been hiding with Aladdin ever since. Or, you know, at least until the moment we walked in front of her hiding spot, which instantly allows Jafar to find her. Good work, Jasmine. We tell Jasmine to run and we fight up the Heartless Jafar summons. Yeah, that it didn't do as much damage as it could have, but still pretty significant. Now it's time for us to wander around again trying to figure out where the hell Jasmine and Jafar went. Luckily, it doesn't take long before we find Aladdin's house and the magic carpet inside, which leads us to the desert. Taking a ride in the carpet, we see Aladdin is fucking dying in the sand. Hold your breath, bit buddy, there's Heartless we need to kill first. The Heartless taken care of, we go to help Aladdin, but there's even more Heartless. So Aladdin, who I guess is free from the quicksand, uses the power of the genie and wishes the Heartless away. Won't lie, man, we probably could have taken them.
Wish number 1 coming right up!
With that, we get away from the area and have a chat with Aladdin. He says he was looking for some stuff in the Cave of Wonders where he found the magic carpet and a lamp that the genie was in. Who's Genie? Well, I'll let the professional explain it.
Can someone... Please, kid, leave the intros to a professional. The one and only Genie of the Lamp! Rub-a-dub-dub the lamp and have your dearest wishes granted. Today's winner is Aladdin! Congratulations!
I just had to include this scene, it's great. It might not fully capture Genie's expressiveness in the film, but it's pretty great for the time. After some deliberation, Aladdin almost wishes for himself to be a fabulously rich prince, though he puts a pin in that until we get back since, well...
Oh, that's right! She's in trouble, Aladdin!
What? Well, come on,
Why'd you wait so long to tell me, Sora?
So we head back to save the day. On the way back, we hear Genie's lament about his deal of only getting 3 wishes and then having to go back into his lamp. So Aladdin promises to use his last wish to free Genie. Damn, it's just like the movie. Getting back to Agrabah, we're instantly attacked again because that's just how this place rolls. And we also get a taste of how OP Gravity really is against larger enemies. Let's go, Gravity! This costs 1 MP. That's kind of fucking nuts to me. But after getting lost for a good 30 minutes, I finally found out where to go, which is to use this Keyblade on this lock, which is placed suspiciously like a window. Thanks, Kingdom Hearts 1. You know what? It's because I thought it looked like a goddamn window. That's why. Because we were fucking around for so long, Jasmine's captured by Jafar. Damn. Aladdin quickly uses his second wish to save Jasmine, but unfortunately this lets Iago steal the lamp. People just have the worst butterfingers in this game, I swear. With the lamp stolen, Genie drops Jasmine into a pot and Jafar turns the pot into their next boss fight, the Pot Centipede. This is where I found the jank of Kingdom Hearts 1 to really show itself. Both the Pot Centipede as well as the Pot Spiders that back it up really don't like being hit. It led to a pretty annoying boss fight as we had to keep killing the Pot Spiders that continue spawning until finally being able to go for the Pot Centipede. And with Donald and Goofy being unable to stay away from any attacks at all, this is more or less a solo fight. The most dangerous attack it has is waving the antenna and tail around, and thanks to its janky hitbox and huge damage, this attack sucks, but we finally bring it down, leveling us up and giving us MP haste, which allows us to recover MP far faster. We also acquired the Ray of Light accessory, which can increase our max MP by 1, so yeah, that shit's going on ASAP. In the aftermath, Jasmine's disappeared and Aladdin just knows that Jafar took her to the desert. Didn't mention that, but let's just go with it, I guess. Going back to the desert, we arrive at the entrance to the Cave of Wonders. Except now it's possessed by darkness. Time to fight it. A bit strange pacing wise since we just did a boss fight, but okay. The Cave of Wonders Guardian is a strange fight. Since the only place to hit it is in the eyes, we have two options. Either hit it with magic or hit it with the Keyblade by climbing up its mane, which is, it takes a while. I also unequipped Scan in favor of using MP Haste, so I couldn't see how much damage I was doing. It's not too bad though, it's just awkward. Don't look at Donald and Goofy's being dead, it's pretty standard. Also, this fight gave me a flashback to those sphinxes in the Neverending Story. Remember when kids' movies would just traumatize them? Good times. Entering into the cave, it's full of these bandit heartless, and they are bastards. They hit fast and hard, so it can be a rough one out here, though there are worse incarnations of them in later games. As for the cave itself, it's a place we return to every time Agrabah is available to visit, and every time it is completely different, which I suppose somewhat leads into the wonders part. Here, it's somewhat of a corridor with two levels. The upper level, which has traps like boulders and streams of water to blast us into the pits. Then there's the lower level, which is full of water and a few treasures, like this torn page which you need for the 100-acre wood. We eventually make our way to the treasure room, but after raiding a few more items, we can't get any farther because of this giant pillar in the way, so it's time to explore some more. It did take quite a while since we had to go from some of the upper rooms into the lower ones to access some of the other areas of the cave, and the lack of the map did not help, nor did finding out we need Aladdin in our party when I found out what to interact with. But after enough fucking around, items are found, switches are pulled, and we destroy this pillar, which probably lowers that other pillar, so that's cool. This cuts to Jafar, who uses Genie's power to show him the world's keyhole. You'd think we'd be fucked at this point, but nah, it's cool. After some more exploring and getting horribly lost because the lower levels all look the same, we make it back to the treasure room and go beyond that to fight Jafar. Maleficent and Jafar discussing how Sora could be so persistent. Jafar's about to suggest telling Riku about the situation, but we rush in and stop him. Maleficent proceeds to do what I do when I don't want to talk to someone I don't know. Aladdin demands that Jasmine be released, which Jafar instantly spills the beans about his plan in an attempt to boast. Not the best move, but you know. In a smarter move, he uses his second wish to send Genie after us, and so Jafar's boss fight begins. This fight is a lot of chasing Jafar around since he likes to fly and teleport. Genie's also here, but he's not really much of a threat, so don't worry about him. Really, this is another contender for an annoying boss fight that won't hold still. Glad Agrabah's going like 3 for 3 on these so far. Thunder's a good way to deal with Jafar. Wish I had rebounded to a shortcut by now, but gravity's one hell of a drug. After enough chasing, we beat Jafar, leveling us up and giving us Air Combo Plus. This gives us another move in our Air Combo before a finisher. It's nice, but not always needed, and sometimes can actually be detrimental. Jafar's defeat also grants us the power of ice once again, upgrading Blizzard to Blizzara. Excellent. We rush over to Jasmine, but Jafar uses his final wish to make him into a genie. He breaks the floor and patiently waits for us to pursue him. Very kind of you, Jafar. We jump in and see Swole Genie Jafar. How can we defeat Jafar after he's purchased the anchor arms? By hitting his length that Iago is flying around with. And we do that while the arena we're fighting constantly shifts up and down. Oh, cool. We're 4 for 4 on these boss fights. Thank you for this bounty, Agrabah. I also finally fixed my camera position on the stream, so there you go for those of you that were screaming about it. Our game plan for this was to constantly pursue Iago and beat the shit out of him with air combos since he's pretty resistant to magic, even being completely immune to thunder. Man, there goes my favorite spell. What is good is that after flying, Iago has to rest, so we used that opportunity to beat the shit out of him with Ripple Drive. After a long fight of chasing Iago around, and mostly nothing happening if I'm being honest, we win and set Jafar into his new New York apartment. That'll be $200,000 a month, Jafar. Hope you got the cash. This gives us the power of fire once again, upgrading fire to Fira. Man, we're getting all the magic here, aren't we? Unfortunately, the price of magic is high, as Jasmine gets kidnapped while we were screwing around out there. And while Aladdin is having a panic attack about Jasmine, we seal Agrabah's keyhole. But we're not done yet. It's the Cave of Wonders after all, so it's time for us to ride the magic carpet out as it collapses. And Yeah, it's not great. It's not even that hard. It's just not interesting. But hey, at least I can fly a magic carpet better than a plane than DMC1. I can't fucking see. I can't. This is so shit. We escape the cave and take Aladdin back to his home. Farm Nut Jasmine isn't in the world anymore, just ignoring that whole world order thing we established a little while ago. Aladdin says he wants to come with us, but that would violate the world. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever, fine. Genie says that Aladdin could use his final wish to get Jasmine back, but of course we know that Aladdin is a man of his word and uses his final wish to release Genie. With Genie freed, Aladdin says that he could go with us to help find Jasmine. Genie acts like he's not going to, but he's totally going to. Which means Genie's a summon now, baby! He's really strong, but by God, I didn't use him a single time because I just kind of forgot about him. But you should use him, he's very strong. Back with the League of Super Evil, Hades says that Jafar would have had them if Riku had helped. But Riku says his only job was to kidnap Jasmine. And after Maleficent says Jafar was consumed by his own hatred, she then reminds Hades to keep a cool head. Hades then says that if Riku keeps helping them, they'll grant his wish and bring him Kairi. It takes a bit for Riku to notice that they said this.
Kairi!
Captain Hook then offers to bring Riku to Kairi, but Riku actually questions what the catch is, so he's got some brains up there. Maleficent then puts on the Motherly Act, which is absolutely just doesn't work.
I seriously doubt that.
But she reminds Riku she kept her end of the deal, and that makes Riku storm off. Back with the boys, Aladdin gives us the 3 Wishes keychain, teaches us the Green Trinity. Thanks, Street Rat, affectionate. Despite the name, the keychain doesn't actually give us any extreme NP, but it's got more strength, so we'll take it. And with the Green Trinity, the trio also talks about the one in the accessory shop in Traverse Town. So we head over there, do it, and it gives us access to the synthesis shop. Now we can finally use materials to synthesize equipment and items. It won't be much use to us now, but it will play a massive role later. At the moment, I use it to get the magic armlet and gives us 1 more MP. I don't equip it right away, but I'm glad to have them. And since we found the torn page earlier, it's time to head back to the 100 Acre Wood. Hop in and find Pooh Bear's house. He laments not having any honey. He's also got a free elixir in his cabinet here. Hey, it's free if I don't have to pay for it. As we leave, Owl's back in the woods and tells us we can't do anything if we don't have the torn page, which we already knew from Merlin, but thanks, Owl. So we head over to the giant tree and we find Piglet. He also asks where Pooh is, but gets scared off by Sora. But after we track him down, Sora's able to calm him down before Piglet tells Sora that he has something he needs to give to Pooh. And speaking of the bear, there he is. And the thing he has to give? A balloon. That way Pooh can fly up and eat all the honey he wants from this tree. But Dr. Bees won't like that, so we'll have to protect Pooh from the bees as he ascends and snacks. This minigame sure is something. It's mostly just a lot of waiting for Pooh to slowly float up and snack on honey once he finally gets there. And after we defend Pooh for 3 minutes and he gorges himself on honey, we get the Nature Spark. We bring it to the Fairy Godmother and now we get Bambi as a summon. Sadly, Bambi's summon is not summoning a hunter to instantly kill someone close to us for maximum emotional damage. Instead, Bambi frolics around. Every time he hits the ground, he generates a ton of MP prizes, meaning we can get a ton of spells whilst Bambi is summoned. What's also useful is that when we fill the meter Bambi has by killing enemies, Bambi drops an item for us. Extremely useful for farming when we need to do it later. But it's finally time to head out of here. Let's head to this next world. I hope nothing bad happens. Ah. Well, that's not great, is it?